This is day 1 of the 30-day reading challenge, and the book I've read today is American-Born Chinese by Gene Luen Yang. It's a graphic novel and it's about 240 pages. The book was a National Book Award finalist, as well as the first graphic novel to win the Michael L. Prince Award. In this video, I'm going to do a quick book summary and a book review. The book intertwines 3 storylines. A traditional Chinese story about the Monkey King, a story regarding Chinese-American Gene Wang, and a story revolving around Danny and his Chinese cousin Qin Qi. American-Born Chinese doesn't treat the stories as their own separate parts. Rather, it focuses on a part of one story, then comes back to it later on. The story begins with the Monkey King. He's famous and a ruler amongst monkeys, but he isn't invited to a dinner party for gods due to the fact that he's only a monkey. Enraged, he seeks to prove that he's more than equal to all gods and goddesses, that he's not just a monkey. After mastering the 4 major disciplines of invulnerability, he faces all sorts of gods and spirits, beating them one by one, only to be buried under a mountain in the end by Ce. After 500 years, a monk comes and frees him by reminding him of his true identity. The second storyline focuses on Jin Wang, who is a modern-day middle school student, and a Chinese American. In 7th grade, Jin finds himself in love with a white girl named Amelia, but as a Chinese American, he isn't regarded well amongst other American students. After Amelia's friend Greg asks him not to ask Amelia out to any more dates, he is confused and angry, and this tears his friendships and identity apart. Danny is your typical American boy in the 3rd story. White, handsome, and cares more about relationships than schoolwork. However, he has a Chinese cousin named Qin Qi who comes to America to visit once a year. Danny is embarrassed by Qin Qi since Qin Qi is the most stereotypical Chinese depiction you'll ever find. In the end, author Gene Luen Yang skillfully merges these 3 stories together in an unexpected twist. This book explores the themes of friendship, identity, and racism in a humorous tone. The fact is, we may end up forgetting our true selves and seek to be someone we aren't. The comparison between an ancient myth and our modern-day childhoods really hits the idea home. I particularly enjoyed this book because it has a lot of subtle humor, and the graphic novel format really enhances the visual effect. I personally really enjoy books with multiple points of view and storylines, so I'm really in my comfort zone with this one. The actual visual format is what I expected of a comic book, mostly defined panels and text bubbles. It definitely doesn't go crazy with graphics, but they are all really well illustrated, sharp, and clear. There are some unique aspects to the book as well. For example, Danny's storyline is actually in the form of a sitcom, with forced laugh tracks under the panels. Some things that may be a bit disturbing to other readers might include the depiction of Qin Qi. There could be potentially offensive stereotypes such as buck teeth and eating animals. Also, although the entire story is pretty funny throughout, for me, there isn't a really high climax. So if you're the type of person that seeks high-action, thrilling storylines in comic books, this one is probably not for you. It's more of a feel-good inside story. Finally, the 3 stories are pretty disconnected at the start, so you might have a hard time keeping track of them and finding meaning, especially if you dislike different points of views altogether. Also, for me personally, the ending and resolution seemed to end relatively quickly, so there was a lot of in-depth character development, but a relatively hasty ending. If you're the type of person that does like in-depth character development, however, then this book is probably suitable for you. Overall, I'd recommend this to people who want a short fun read, maybe to relieve stress or as a break, since I finished this in around an hour, and the reading level isn't very high. It won't necessarily provide you with any earth-shattering feelings or discoveries, but it does a nice job of blending multiple themes through multiple storylines. Also, if you're going through an identity crisis or feeling like any sort of outsider, this book might point you in the right direction, and will probably appeal to you. As for ratings, I'd probably give it a 4.1 out of 5, mostly because it was really fun and a unique graphic novel. But there wasn't too much I could take away from it either. I'll end up I'll end off with a nice quote from the book. "I'm going to let you in on a secret, little friend. It's easy to become anything you wish, so long as you're willing to forfeit your soul." So that's the end of this book review and summary. If you do end up reading the book, feel free to tell me about anything that you thought was particularly interesting or any feelings that you had. If I missed anything, you can point that out as well. Thank you all for listening, and enjoy.